Welcome to the BDP Network.
What do you mean? What do you mean you ain't sure? What do you mean? What do you mean? But it's not. I'm not sure about that. No. What do you mean? You said it was easy. Hard? What do you mean? Hard? What do you mean you don't know? Hard? No. What do you mean? I'm not sure. What do you mean? What are you talking about? What do you mean? What are you talking about? I don't know. No. What do you mean? You said it was easy. Hard? 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 I don't know. Hard? 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 You said it was easy. Hard? 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 I don't know. Hard? 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 You said it was easy.
Today we'll talk about, I don't know,
Just
this
random
is a freestyle. Yeah, random musings. We've been doing a lot this last week. We've been making a lot of moves on the YouTube channel, trying to get a lot of content up. But, you know, not a lot, just a bit, a start. We've got some new bits up on some health warnings and, you know, some advice on how to deal with bailiffs, that kind of thing. Just put some advisory videos up where you'll hear my dulcet tones. Yeah, so we're trying to do another podcast now. It's Thursday night. We sit here. It's my birthday tomorrow.
Yay! 96.
I'll be 39 years old.
96, bruv. Don't
Own that age. Own your age. 39 years old. I could
So
say
you're
I was
that old.
35.
You're that old, you're going to get a letter from the Queen yesterday, bruv. You know what I mean?
Hey, check that. You know that you have to pay for your own letter from the Queen now?
Shut up. Never. I thought that was a real thing when you turned like 100, man. I thought she sent you a letter.
She does send you a letter, but you've got to pay for it.
The bullshit.
Yep.
I'm not having that.
You got to pay for that. So when you get to 100, I've known a couple of people that got to 100 and they've had to pay for their letter.
I'm not having that.
Yeah, how crazy.
No,
So we've had a busy week anyway, forgetting about dying or getting to 100. We've had a busy week.
Shut up, I ain't dying. I'm going to live till fucking 500, I am. I'm the Highlander. There can be only one. You know what I mean?
So I should say that we've got a couple of games up with my kids. Shout out to my kids at Twin Kings Gaming.
Twin Kings Gaming.
And their little their playlist on our channel there, on the BDP Network channel, it's going to get bigger. But yeah, they've put a video up with by the way, 7-year-old, one of my 7-year-old twins, kicking my ass in a best of 3 game.
And you know you didn't let him when he beat you.
No, I promise you I didn't let him win. I don't let anybody. Well, I do let him win sometimes, but I always win. I always win on the way out the door. Do you know what I mean? I let him win, but I got to win on the way out the door. So when I'm leaving, I got to leave on a win, and then give my win kind of the old finger gun. Pew 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 pew. Got to give him that on the way out and go. Don't forget who Daddy is. But he beat me, man. I walked away. He's good. It's 7.
I see your gun finger, and I raise your gun finger. The finger RPG.
Oh, he's holding that like a Super Nintendo. What was that gun you got with the Super Nintendo?
Oh, the light gun, the big shoulder light rocket thing. I know you're on about. Yeah, the Super Scope. There you go. Super Nintendo Super Scope, bro.
Nintendo Super Scope.
Hold that. I see your gun finger and I raise your Nintendo Super Scope, mate. Hold that.
What was the game on that? What were the games on that? I had them. What was the one? Remember there was rockets flying past the screen.
Yeah, and there was
It was
UFOs and that. And you had to shoot down the ICBMs, and there was the version of Duck Hunt on there and shit.
Was there a Duck Hunt?
Yeah, and I'm
That
sure
was on the Master
that was from
System.
the Nintendo. Duck,
Oh, was
yeah,
it
that was from the
Nintendo?
Nintendo. Yeah,
Oh, it
the
was?
first light gun. Yeah, Duck Hunt. Yeah.
Remember
yeah.
that orange and
Yeah,
grey?
the orange and grey gun, yeah. Hey, here's a trip down nostalgia lane, right? And I never knew anyone who fucking had one, right? I asked my mum and dad one year for a Nintendo Power Glove. Like a real Nintendo Power Glove. I see it on the telly and I see someone with it on the telly,
of
right?
this shit, but I've
Yeah.
never. We'll have
Like,
to look into
like
that.
for real. And I don't know how much my mum and dad paid for it, you know? Yeah, but one Christmas, it wasn't even Christmas. I asked for it just after my birthday, which is like February time of the year. And I said, oh, for Christmas, can I have a Power Glove? Oh yeah, I said, I want a Power Glove. 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 Come Christmas, what the fucking get? Got fucking Power Glove, bruv. I swear, I was the only kid I knew that had that. I swear, it's going around my mate's house with it. Go, yeah, look, boom. Do you know what I mean?
What was it? What was a Power Glove? What was it for?
Right, it was for the Nintendo, the original NES console. Yeah, where you put the cartridge in, click it down.
You must have been
yeah.
young. That's a
I
long time ago.
was a youth, mate. You gotta think I was hey, I got a Sega Mega Drive on my birthday the day it come out and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I got my Nintendo, Super Nintendo, when I was 12. I think that was the year I got it when I was 12. So what was that, 92?
92.
I think 1992 is when
I was
that
like,
came
I was
out.
10 then, something like
Do you
that.
know what game I got with it? Oh, and by the way, before you work this one out for yourself, what game I got with it. This console I wanted so bad, like so bad. I would have done anything for this console. I just couldn't do anything enough for them. But I wanted this so bad, so I had a feeling that they'd get it, and I knew how my parents got hold of their presents for me and stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It weren't Santa.
Yeah, it weren't Santa. So, but I remember wanting this so bad, and I remember sneaking into my parents' room. But by the way, people, took about. I mean, I needed Princess Diana come round my house to make sure that minefield was safe for me to walk through before I went. Rest in peace. It's all about rest in peace today. But I found myself sneaking into their room, risking everything, to go up into the top cupboard above their. There was this slidey cupboard above their wardrobe, built-in wardrobe, you know. This in one of them flat top prefab council houses.
Oh, well posh.
Oh yeah, well
Well
posh.
posh.
Yeah, well posh. Yeah. We had what is it? Maybe 2 feet of grass out the front of our house.
Oh, you
bruv.
funny cunt.
At
Funny
the
cunt.
front.
I had 110-foot back garden.
110-foot back garden.
Yeah, mate.
Our back garden was effectively the front of the house. And all the,
And the
you know what I'm
side
saying?
and shit.
Yeah, and all the back gardens were like in the front in a square. Yeah, we had these squares. Yeah, like a square there in the estate. So the estate would start with the main road and that, and then there'd be the squares off, and there'll be flat top councils.
So to anyone that knows, before they destroyed it, I used to live on the original Ferrier estate in Kidbrook. Before they knocked it down, back when it was Tenement Square and all that with the big concrete bits and shit.
That's an estate that people know out the manor.
Oh yeah, it's that bad.
That's-
They
that's-
knocked
well,
it down,
in the
mate,
manor.
and they built a new one, and they
Yeah.
knocked the new one down. They built a new one again. It was that bad.
Hey, you can't polish a turd. But back to that, I mean, we used to knock about in the square. That's my favourite smell anyway, come from back then, when they used to cut the grass. They used to get the mower come round
Oh shit.
and cut the grass in the
Oh,
middle of the
shit,
square,
yeah,
and then we used to go out and make these like giant, like snowmen kind of things out
Grass
of the grass.
angels.
Yeah, mate, hunting ants in the old what them little flaps in the pavement, you know, where they go in for the water mains and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
We used to get the polystyrene on the top when you used to open the hatch there, you know, when we were kids, we were murking about. Like little kids. Little tiny kids. Murking about in the front there. But, I mean, 1992 rolls around. I'm a wise guy. You know, I'm doing my business.
what
I'm holding
console
things down. Well, I wanted the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, SNES.
The SNES, yeah. So, I didn't want none of that fandangled Nintendo scope business.
Oh,
Like,
you missed out.
no, I didn't, because I got it, mate. I had nefarious means of getting things when I was 12. Don't worry about that. I had links, but not that kind of links. But so I wanted this one, but I just wanted the Super Nintendo. No, none of that super expensive, you know, another £100 for the gun business. I just wanted the Super Nintendo with one game.
Street Fighter 2.
Street Fighter 2 Turbo Edition. When it was released, with
Turbo
that.
Edition was fucking with the stars for the speed.
Yes, mate.
Hop.
Yes, mate. You see, do you know the reason why I can hold it together still now? Because you know I don't game no more, right?
No, I play on Maximum Star, man.
No,
Yeah,
I know you
yeah.
do game though, right?
Of course.
You're the gamer, right? You're the gamer of us.
Blasting Coops.
Blasting Coops, legendary. So, but the only reason why I can still hold together a game of any combat, I mean, dude, I don't care what anybody says. Come challenge me, anybody, to any driving game. You give me 1 day. You give me 1 day. That's my bag. I learn things quick. So you give me 1 day. I learn. I whoop your ass. But with Street Fighter, getting that console, that I used to sneak in to my parents' room, and you know what? I used to stand up on the edge of their bed and balance right across. My dad was clever. I used to balance right across. I mean, he left then to be no way for me to look at this. He put it in a place I couldn't reach. But I used to lean across, and I used to go underneath this bed sheets in this top cupboard, and I found this box, and it was all wrapped up, and it had my name on it. It was all legit. So I've looked at the box, and it looked like it had a little tear on the corner. So I'm like, I'm going to look in that little tear, and I made that tear a little bit bigger. I looked in that tear, and I couldn't see what it was at all. So I've legged it, and I come back, and over a couple of weeks I made this tear a little bit bigger, thinking they wouldn't notice. And to their credit, they didn't ever call me on it. But
You
I
know
saw that. Do you know what I saw? I saw the Nintendo sign. You know the long
red. Yeah.
Nintendo in the
Oval shape,
oval
like
thing.
stretched
Yeah.
over, yeah.
I saw that and I went no way. So so for that 2 weeks, pre that Christmas, 1992, my parents, unbeknownst to them, or probably beknownst to them, they probably milked it, but I treated them like gods and goddesses. In that home, I did everything for them because I appreciated them so much because they got me that. No matter the nefariousness of the means, I really appreciated. Yeah, 100%. Don't worry about that. So that was the Super Nintendo I got, and that was the game that I wanted, and that's the game that still now I can bash up.
So I got a question for you, right? So you say about the Super Nintendo and Street Fighter, right? Boom. I too had a Super Nintendo. Hey, here you go. I remember going. What was the name of the shop? It began with a D. It was a big department store. Debenhams.
Debenhams.
Right? I remember going to Debenhams.
I thought you could say Dixon's.
In Eltham High Street.
Yeah.
Debenhams at the top end of Eltham High Street. Just to go up to the 3rd floor to play the display Super Nintendo with Street Fighter on it, right? And you gotta think, this place was like an hour walk from my house. And I thought, why am I gonna go to the arcade and spend 20p a time when I can go to Debenhams and go and play it upstairs on the 3rd floor?
Exactly. See, you're lucky. I weren't living in London then.
Right.
I weren't living in London then. You're lucky. You could go to all these places. I used to have to go to this place called Queensmead, yeah, next to Kingsmead, yeah, that had one shop in it. That what was it called? Tandy's.
Tandy's. I remember Tandy's with a CDR.
With a Philips CDR.
Yeah.
It was a golf game, remember?
Yeah, mate. I remember
Standing
that.
Tandy's.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
Tandy's
yeah.
had all the RACs, all the radio control card there,
Yeah.
all the basic stuff, you know. But to me, it was the ledge
And
stuff.
Curry's.
Yeah, Curry's come after though, innit? Like
Yeah.
Tandy's was around when B-Jams was Iceland.
Oh shit.
Like when Iceland took over B-Jams.
Quick save.
B-Jam, yeah, Quick Save had been about, mate, no frills.
No frills.
Oh, was no frills Quick Save?
You spend 7p on that.
Yeah, because it
Swiss
was
roll.
Yeah, no frills. Mate, I grew up on no frills crisp. No frills everything. Hey, how about this? The whole of high school there, with no lunchbox. Right, no lunchbox. You know what I had?
I had a tape box.
Tape box.
Yeah, not one of them big flat ones from like Rain Dance. You know, like you get the big flat one. You got the
A
tapes.
tape deck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like-
mate.
like-
I
no,
used
mine
to
was-
buy them. I
mine
used to go
look-
to all them, innit?
Mine looked like a lunchbox. Like it
Remember
was a
that.
square box, right? But you
Oh, that's
folded,
cool.
you
Yeah, I know what
folded the
you're saying.
front and the top over, so it was like 2 sides and like 3 sides and the bottom. Yeah, I had a tape box for my fucking lunchbox, mate. It was all quick save.
Mr. Coops, you've had a troubled life, so, but I tell you what have had. A lot of good swag. You've had some swag as you're growing up there, brother. You know what I ain't never had? No swag.
Right. So it's funny you say about Street Fighter, right? Because I think about that. So when I was a young man, Street Fighter was out and all that. I say young man, I was a boy. But it weren't just Street Fighter, right? There was other games out. So like I remember playing Turtles Tournament Fighters on the Super NES, and there was a character called War. Boom. I smash War, 100%. And Shredder, done. Right, boom. Then there was like Clay Fighters with Bad Mr. Frosty and Mr. Taffy. Yeah, Clay Fighters.
I remember that.
Of course you do. Right? Yeah. Then there was like Primal Rage where it's like Street Fighter with dinosaurs and it was
Dinosaurs?
T-Rex versus Velociraptor and shit, right? Boom. And all these games are good. And you have Mortal
No
Kombat.
way.
And you have Mortal Kombat and all that shit, right?
I love them
and
memory
like
bombs, man.
Killer
Memory bombs are the
Instinct.
shit.
Yeah, Killer Instinct with another one. Boom. Fulgor. I'm getting all the combos. It don't matter. 28 combos and shit. Boom. Right?
Killer Instinct is a big game. That
Right.
black, you got that black edition down
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I have somewhere.
Yeah, it's,
Right.
it's not there.
But-
Worryingly.
Do you know what I remember mostly about them games? Is as soon as like Mortal Kombat 3 come out, that was the first Mortal Kombat game where you could hold the shoulder button and run across the screen at your opponent. So like with Sub-Zero, you run forward with the right bumper, and then you do like X X Y Y A B B, and that was like fucking 80 combo or some shit, right? Boom, with Sub-Zero, right? All other fighting game. Once I played Mortal Kombat 3 and I see the speed at which game play, even Street Fighter 2 Turbo was like super slow
No.
compared
man.
to Mortal
No,
Kombat
no.
3.
Not with a turbo turned up, bro.
Even
No.
fully turned up, man. Even
No,
fully
no.
turned up. As soon as you play Mortal
No,
Kombat
no,
3, that game just like, what? I'm like, wow, that's so fast.
You know me. You see that sword up on the wall there? You know that decorative one on the wall there?
Oh, right, yeah, you look
Yeah,
Tanto.
I will
Yeah.
run that through myself in some Bushido style honor ceremony quicker than I ever allow you in this space here. Yeah. To announce that any other fighting game is as good as Street Fighter. Listen,
No, not
you
good.
can't do
Not
that.
as good.
Don't say
Not as-
faster, man.
No, it was faster.
It's
So
not-
like the frame rates and all that, it was so fast.
You talk about, yeah, but that's just different graphics.
Right.
Different graphic engines. Isn't it? And plus the fact that it's using
And
a different...
in my opinion, in my personal opinion, I'd like to say that Street Fighter games didn't catch up in their speed of play. What I mean by like Hadouken.
Did you
What?
ever play them in the arcades?
Yeah, of course I did.
Then you know this, that the input, because it's an arcade game,
Yeah.
the input is different in the arcades, right? You've got a joystick, remember?
yeah,
There's
but-
always joystick on these fighting games back then. So the input was slower, huh?
But the movements were slow as well.
The
So
movements
what
were
I mean
slower,
was
so
like
therefore...
Hadouken was Hadouken compared to Come Here from
Yeah,
Scorpion.
but
for
we're talking
example,
about,
right?
what's that, 16-bit back then? Was it? Or is it 8-bit? No, 8-bit was the Master System and the...
Yeah, Sega Mega Drive 16-bit.
16-bit and the... And yeah, and then 32-bit was...
Oh
no, hang on. The Mega Drive was 32-bit. You had the 32-bit
No,
one.
16. Sega Mega Drive 16-bit, bro.
Was it the Galaxy?
You mean
No.
so you had the Sega Saturn.
Sega Saturn.
Sega
That was...
Saturn.
that was
the one.
64-bit?
Yeah, it was about the same time as Dreamcast. Yeah, Sega Saturn.
Oh, the Dreamcast came out
Yeah.
after the
The
Saturn.
Crazy Taxi on the
Sat-
Dreamcast.
The Saturn came after the Mega Drive, right?
Mm.
Yeah, because it looked like the Mega Drive, didn't it? But it looked better.
Yeah,
it was
discs.
darker.
Took
See,
discs.
that's what I
Yeah.
missed. The first thing I got pre that whole story with the whole Super Nintendo. The one I had before was the
I had the Sega Saturn.
no, not the before the what was the Sega?
CD32.
No, before the Mega Drive. What was the
Master System.
the Sega Master System?
Did you have the
And-
Master System 2 or the Master
No,
System 1?
I had the Master System 1, sir.
Yeah,
With the one card insert.
Where you put
on
the
front.
card in the the
and
front.
it looked like Kit out at night,
Do
right?
you remember them games that used to come on the credit card, bruv?
Yes, mate.
Do you remember that?
I had Alex the Kid, I think, on
Alex Kidd was built in.
built in, yeah. To
Yeah,
the
built
thing.
into the 2, wasn't it? It was built
Yeah.
in 2.
No.
Yeah.
But I had it. I'm sure, what was the game? No, what was the game that was built in? Was that that was Duck Hunt or something like that?
I know Duck Hunt was on the Master System.
Do you know
yeah.
the best game I had on that? And just for having
Wonder
a
Boy
laugh
Monster Land.
and making me feel like I was an adult. Oh no, that's my favourite game. That's my favourite game probably ever. That's in the Hall of Fame for myself. That Wonder Boy and Monster World, Wonder Boy 3, wasn't it? That was a game I played on an arcade machine and smashed, and just it made me earn a work ethic just by wanting to play that game. To get some money to
Do you
put
know
in
what
there, some 10p's.
Best game I ever played, mate. On one of them, and even now today, do you know what I'm gonna say? Even now today, because I still have.
Oh, you'll love my
nostalgia about
entry.
it.
What's yours?
Super Turrican or
What?
Universal Soldier, bro.
Oh, they're later on though.
They
What
was
is it? What's that on?
They was on the Master System.
Yeah, but
bruv.
later on the
Yeah,
Master
and
System.
they was the same type of game. You was a character.
Yeah.
You was on the map. You could jump around. Super Turrican.
Yeah.
People should know about Super
Yeah,
Turrican.
people
and
will
that.
know
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
yeah. Yes, and
What
Super
about?
Turrican.
Listen though. What about? See, this is a game that you played with the gun. Do you remember the gun from the Master System?
yeah.
Yeah, like a big
the
black
black
dick.
with the red on it,
Yeah,
black
like
and
a
red.
big
Yeah.
Bell end on the
Yeah,
end.
black
and
and
it was
red,
yeah. Again, it looked like something out of Tron,
Yeah.
Night Rider, Street Hawk, Airwolf, whatever, man. Looks like
I
something.
had one of my wolf bikes.
Anyway, back to the subject.
I'll say this on the subject. Sorry.
Check. No, Rambo 3 on
Oh,
the
what?
Master System.
Yeah, but weren't that the same as Contra Super Alien Rebels? You walked up from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen, and the baddies come down, and you used to you fought
Oh
behind.
wow, Super Contra. That's a fucking shout, bruv.
Alien Rebels, Super Contra Alien Rebels, course,
I'll offer
mate.
one game. What was this?
I
What
got a-
platform was this on though?
That was on the Super Nintendo, but I got an even better one. Before Super Contra Alien Rebels, right, there was a game called Alien Storm, and there was a chick with a flamethrower, there was a dude with some kind of gun, and there was a robot with an electric whip. It's called Alien Storm, and every motherfucker played that shit.
Tell me what platform R-Type came out on. Was that the
Ar-
Amiga?
Yeah, the Amiga 1200, I think. No, it wasn't Amiga
Wow.
1200, it was before the 1200.
Do you know what? That coincided. I don't. People don't have to check the dates on this shit, but I'm sure that coincided with my love for rave music, which must have been about '92. After I said goodbye to Guns N' Roses and picked up on Nirvana, I
Funny-
also went to raves
funny
from the
you
age of
mention-
8.
Funny you mentioned the Amiga, because the Amiga was the first computer that I ever had. and it was just a keyboard that you plugged into the telly, and it was an Amiga 1200.
I
and
told
remember,
you I used to go around this chick Rachel's house when I was a young boy. Yeah,
And she was Amiga head.
and she had an Amiga,
Yeah.
and she used to show it to me, and all. And to be honest, I was 12 years old. I went round there for that computer. Yeah, I was
you
getting
weren't
all.
going there for
I weren't getting out there for nothing else. She had that computer, man. She had that computer there. That Amiga had a keyboard on it.
Yeah.
I remember my parents got hold of this this computer, right? And nobody's ever heard of this computer. If I still had it now, it'd be worth an absolute fortune.
Go on.
It was a strange thing. Now, it wasn't anything you're going to say like a Spectrum or anything like that. It's nothing that you'll ever know. And you know what? I turned it on once, played it once, turned it off. It was a keyboard, and around the keyboard had like a orange, blue, and a red line going around it, a thin line going around this keyboard. And you loaded tapes into it. It was
Commodore
a tape
64?
one. It wasn't any of them. It wasn't a Commodore.
Amstrad,
It wasn't a Sinclair Spectrum.
ColecoVision, or whatever it is.
It was nothing I've ever heard since or seen before at that point, and I kind of just wanked it off because I had consoles and shit then. But it was a weird affair, man. But it was the only other thing I'd seen that you could play, you know, a keyboard that had a capability. This was pre Commodore 64.
Yeah.
This is pre any of that. So I wish we still had it. You know, I wish they still had it in their loft, like the studio in ours. But that was my only other, you know, entry. I'd seen the Commodore 64s, but I'd never had one. You know, my mate Neil had one, but he lived in a grimy place. I didn't want to go there. That was grimy. I didn't want to go there. Ooh, Neil, I hope you're still living, brother. But the Amiga, what was it?
Amiga, I had 1200, but I think it was starting on 600. I'm sure it was Amiga 600, then it was 1200, then it was something else. Yeah, but I'm sure it was a 600, and then it went to the 1200. I had a 1200, and to be honest, right, for me, this is gonna be a bit of a nostalgia to any kind of game head out there. So, like, I used to play a game, and it was called Dune. Bruv, you know, like the film Dune, the spice must flow with
That
Freeman
is
and
my
shit.
favourite
Yeah.
sci-fi film, dude. I mean,
What?
I'm a sci-fi head, but please check that film out. I know you played the game.
The first real
But
game, mate, I ever played was Dune.
Have you seen the film?
Of course,
Dune?
I've seen Dune, bruv.
You
With
remember?
the Atreides and all that.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
I'm not putting the
and
Mentats
by
and
the
all
way,
that, bruv. Yeah.
we'll come back to this in another body because I don't think we're going to fit it in here. But by the way, what was the weapon they used?
Sound.
Sound.
Yeah, bruv.
Yeah, because he used to shout
Sound.
in it.
Yeah, that was the Freeman.
And the bad guy, remember him?
The
he
Baron
was,
Harkonnen.
dude.
He pulled the ring out of the slave's heart and stuff. Yeah.
That was the creepiest thing as a
Big
kid.
fat
I
dude
watched
in
all
the
that
front
stuff as a
seat,
kid.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
the
yeah.
creepiest thing in a sci-fi film. Fuck anything else.
You know the one thing that the
It had
Dune.
Sting in it, didn't it? As his
Yeah.
prize warrior, the
you know the one-
Arconians.
So yeah, the Harkonnens, right? So in the
Harkonnens.
film Dune, right, you see two. Well, there's
With
three.
a big head in
if
the
you look at
the
it,
bowl.
right, so you've got the Atreides, right? The Atreides, they're what Leo Atreides is, right? He's
They're
the one
the
that
good
goes.
guys.
Yeah, they're the good
They've
guys.
got the
they're
Emperor
blues,
and
right?
shit. Yeah.
Right. Well, no, the Emperor, he's a Sardaukar, bruv. So he's a whole completely different faction. So the Emperor's the Sardaukar.
Check that mind flex there.
Right.
Do you feel that mind flex? That's a mind flex.
Right, so the Emperor was Sardaukar, yeah? He come in and he fucked everything up. He did, when he was on a mission, didn't matter what faction you was or whatever, the Emperor come in, he's Sardaukar, right? Boom, he fuck everyone up, yeah? But in the Dune series, right, apart from the Ben Gesserit witches, oh, that's a word I haven't fucking thought in years, right? Apart from the Ben Gesserit witches and the Freemen, right, there was three main factions in it. There was the Atreides, they're the good guys. There was the Harkonnen, like the Atreides were blue, the Harkonnen were red. That's where the original blue and red come from.
Wow.
Well, it wasn't. The original blue and red come from a game called Zed, Steel Soldiers.
I remember that. Let's keep
yeah,
going on Dune, man, because
there was,
we're getting
right, so there was,
people can't understand
yeah,
what
yeah,
we're
yeah,
talking about.
right. So Zed Steel Soldiers was the first blue and red, right? But in the Dune game, you had the blue army, that was the Atreides. You had the Harkonnen, that was the red army. But there was another army in the game called the Ordos, and there was the green army. And they was like the spies, the saboteurs, the techno dudes and shit. Remember, the Emperor's his own thing with his Sardaukar shock troopers and that. And they come fuck your base up with one squad of troops and shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, you ain't fighting that. You know what I mean? So I always, because I watched the films and shit, I was never the Atreides. Well, I was the Atreides and I was the Harkonnen to see what they was like and all that shit, yeah? But I was always the Ordos. Always the Ordos.
There was, listen, that book that turned into a film. I mean, that book is
Oh,
amazing.
a series of books, mate. I remember reading 5 or 6 books just on the Ben Gesserit witches. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I remember reading about 8 books because there was hundreds of books, like not hundreds, but there was loads. I remember reading about 8 books about Leo Atreides just with his time in the Freeman.
There's another couple of series out there on book. Original book, yeah, people, book.
Yeah, on paper.
Yeah, what was it? Do you know there's that's a. Before we carry on with the computer game thing, we will, I promise, because it's good stuff. And that's where we both sit with a bit of knowledge about that. But just on a quick book stock, boring, boo. I've got 2 authors,
Yeah. Okay.
that stand out in my mind, that satisfy my tastes, not what the book publishing houses or what the general thing is. I've got a couple writers. One of them you'll know really well. You'll know his work really well through cinema mostly, but the other one you won't know, and it's a bit. This will lead into something you know. Yeah. So the first one that you will know is oh, do you know what? I forgot his damn name now. What's his name?
Who? What do you write?
What's his name? See, this is the issue. People don't remember
What do you
people's
write?
names. I don't know his work.
So, for example, I read David Gemmell, for example. David Gemmell has always been a
Well, just give me two authors quickly that you read.
Yeah.
That stand out to you.
Right.
Just 2, and what they write and why.
So I read a lot of Dan Abnett. Dan Abnett is an author that writes for the Black Library, which is Warhammer 40k. So it's all about the grim, dark reality of the first millennium of man, and you know we're out in the stars.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Spooky.
Right. So I read a lot of Dan Abnett.
Dan the man.
I read.
Shout out to
I
Dan.
also read a lot of David Gemmell and Clive Cussler. So
I've heard of Clive Cussler.
yeah, so Clive Cussler does a lot of things. They're all aqua stuff, all underwater stuff. So he writes about this dude called Dirk Pitt, who's a member of Numa.
Dirk.
Yeah, Dirk Pitt.
Dirk.
And he
You
lives
say?
in a hangar. He lives in this hangar on
In
this
a hangar?
airfield.
Dirk?
Yeah. And he works. So he's
Dirk
a dude
Gently?
called Dirk Pitt who lives in a hangar
Dirk
on an
Pitt.
airfield, but he works for Numa, which is the National Underwater Marine Biology something or other.
Numa.
Right? Yeah. But they're all heavily in science and all that.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Boom.
So they're 2 people. So why do you what'd you get out of reading that?
Well, I read Dan Abnett because I like how he style. So, like for example, if I said to you, like I could sit here and talk to you for 6 months, 8 hours a day for 6 months, and tell you what life's like on, say, in Catterick Garrison, right? But you wouldn't know what life's like in Catterick Garrison until you've been there. And then once you've been there, we can talk about Catterick Garrison, for example, on a level that most people can't talk about, right? So when I say about like armed conflict, so if you want to watch a film that has any kind of sort of relevance to how armed conflict is as a soldier in an army, watch Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, because that's real gritty shit.
You say
right?
Shaving Ryan's Privates.
Yeah, Shaving Private Ryan, right? Yeah, boom.
Shaving Ryan's Privates.
Yeah.
Definitely not
Right.
Mr. Hands.
But
Mr. Hands.
of all Mr. Hands, yeah, of course. But of all of the, because I'm into Warhammer 40k as well, right? I'm into Warhammer and 40k.
If you're
Right.
talking about Warhammer, I used to paint the little characters. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, to a degree, yeah.
I
it
used
is.
to be the
That's what it's about,
geezer
yeah.
in the estate.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
would
I'm all
paint
about
the-
Necrons, man. I'm all about the Necrons and
Space
Tyranids.
Marines.
Space
Chaos
Marines,
Marines
Chaos
was the-
Marines, Orcs.
Everybody
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
place
yeah.
wanted to be a Chaos
Yeah.
Marine, so I used to paint a lot of Chaos Marines, man. And
Right.
do the little, they were red, like blood red and
But
shit.
like Dan Abnett, when I read, because there's a lot of authors out there for the Warhammer universe. There's quite a few different authors out there, and let's not get into the fan fiction, because some of the fan fiction is better than the legacy stuff and all that. Do you know what I mean? But we won't get into that.
Dragon Ball Z abridged.
Right. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z. You know what I mean?
Yeah, abridged.
Right. So some of the fan fiction stuff is better than the established writers and all that. So I'll give it that its due and all that. Fanfiction.net. Right. But so when I read Dan Abnett's style of writing, I can picture that in my head. Like say so he writes a series about Gaunt's Ghosts. So Gaunt's Ghosts are like Imperial Guardsmen. They're Royal Fusiliers of the 41st millennium. So how he writes, his writing style, I sit there and read his writing style, and I'm there in the trenches with him.
But you have got an insight into what that feels like. So how do you think you can't know for sure, but do you think from your viewpoint that people could, is that submersive? Because I tell you what, that's the reason that you've announced this to why you like this author so much is exactly the same. Is exactly the same fucking reason why I like the two authors I'm selecting the most.
Yes, because he writes from a first person perspective.
Because they make you feel like you're there.
Yeah, of course. Just the same way.
But do you think that he's good enough an author to be able to convey that to somebody who hasn't been there?
The fact that he's got millions of readers around the world, mate, digitally and physically. Yeah.
Justin Bieber's got billions of followers.
And people claim that Justin Bieber could be a 20-foot shape-shifting lizard.
I heard it was 200 feet.
Well,
lizard man, and his goons shook everybody down afterwards and told him to shush and give him some lollipops.
I'm not having that.
Made him lick their lollipops.
I say this, alright, look. Just the same way, whoever it is you offered out.
Lizard lollipops.
So, Coops with a Z, the Highlander, because I can be the only one. Justin Bieber, if you're listening to this, my friend, I'll kick 7 shades of snot out of you anytime, any place, anywhere, anyhow. Hold that shit, lizard or not.
He trains, man. Little Justin Bieber.
And I train on the Pangamot, bruv. I'll box him up and elbow him to the right side of his face.
Pangamot, whatever.
Pangamot, whatever. No, now you're just talking, you're talking waff now. I sit here and I big up the jiu-jitsu and I big up all the things. You can't go dissing Pangamot, bruv, because you know what it's about.
That's fair enough. And listen, man, I appreciate you observing the truth, because that's what this place is about. Observing the truth and spreading the truth. So the reason why you give jiu-jitsu its props is because it's the truth. Now the reason why I say, hang on, what was your thing called there?
Don't drop that one. You know
what was your thing called?
Putang Nan, aka Pangamot.
Okay, so your thing, Pangamot. So it's stuck in my throat there.
Yeah, it's called cock.
It gets a fucking, it gets a love punch for that one. So, reason why I say it with such quizzical, skeptical, stoned eyes,
Right, yeah.
is because I don't understand the truth in Pangamot. But that's cool, because that we'll discuss. We're diverting again. We'll go into that if you like. Because listen, I believe any learning is learning. I believe any learning is bettering, and I believe any, without sounding too preachy, I think any betterment of yourself is a credit to the next person you meet. Not a credit to the next person you meet, but a benefit to the next person you meet. Any self-betterment, it doesn't matter if you get paid for it in your house. You take that. How many times, by the way? Here, answer me this question, Coops with a Z. How many times, by the way, are you out at work or in the public domain, doing whatever, and you're polite to someone and you get mad love, and you go home, and it's completely different?
Yeah, but that's because in a member of the public, I'm only intervening in their life for half a second.
So they see that image of you as being, the helpful elf and stuff. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, people that live in my home, they see me.
They remember
shit. They see me. No, but then look. I'll use an example. Right, look. When I was binman. Right? When I was binman.
Big up the bin men.
Yeah. Hey, listen. More power to the people with more knowledge than PhDs that sweep the streets. Do you know what I mean?
Amen.
Yeah? Amen to that. Right? But when I was binman, for example.
Some of the most interesting cats I've ever met have been binmen.
So I remember there was this woman in this little village that we used to service, right? She was a South African woman, yeah? And she lived in this village that was one part of our round on one of the days, right? Now,
what's this got to do with...
I'm just saying, like, when I'm binman, right? About people and about the impact that you give them and all that. People that live with you and people that don't, right? So I remember there was this woman, and she lived in this little village that we used to service. And she's a South African woman. She's a landlady and that, so she owned a couple of houses and all that malarkey. Do you know what I mean? Hey, that's why I know about all this, because I was a nice guy and she told me. So, I don't know what the last binman used to do. I don't know.
Hopefully he emptied her bins.
Well, from the attitude that she had initially, I can't say that her former binman used to empty her bin all the time. Do you know what I mean? And the irony was, there was nothing wrong with her bin, so there was no reason
That's a
why
shame
not to do
because
with
there's some hard working dudes work out in the rounds.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, no, listen. I don't take nothing away from anyone that's prepared to work hard, right? But what I will say is this: when you're doing something that involves manual labour and the public, you find two kinds of people. You find people that want to do it, and people that don't really want to do it. So what that means is they'll do things that lengthen or shortcut.
You mean you find people that want to do the job for what the job is, and people that don't want to do it proactively at all.
Yeah, they just want the wages.
And milk it for the
yeah,
system.
yeah.
But you see, the thing is, that's what you get when it's
Yeah,
a shitty job, man.
You know what I mean?
No
Yeah.
offense,
And, you know,
no
look,
offense, but even everybody respects the bin men. I mean, not when we're actually out on the rounds and doing that shit, but people do retrospectively. People that are anything to do with the council or anything to do with, that part of the council in refuse, understand that it's the second service behind the emergency services.
Yeah, they're no emergency service.
No, they're not an emergency service, but they're
Right.
classified in the second group behind in regard to access and importance. Yeah, so you've got fire, ambulance, and police. No, soldiers. That's different. You're biased there.
Soldiers are the first. Right, but look,
Yeah, but I'm talking about emergency services.
Yeah, soldiers.
The refuse is in the first line of health and cleansing.
I
Before hospitals and all that stuff.
You'd have
Well,
pests and vermin and disease.
one day there'll be
and
robots.
this and that.
Well,
Do you
yeah.
know what I mean, right?
Look what happens when people's rubbish don't get collected for a month.
But what I'll say is this, right? Look,
It turns them into apes.
I don't know what the last binman used to get up to.
And
with-
rightly so.
With this particular
Well,
customer.
rightly so,
right?
yeah.
Boom. So all I know is I've turned up in her garden one
He's
day.
a milky.
Well, I've turned up in her garden one day, and she's out the window, and she's giving the attitude and all that. You better do this, you better do that, blah 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 blah. Right, boom. So I've gone. So I didn't even acknowledge her at first. I went there. I took the bin. I even took the side waste that she had and that, do you know what I mean? Because it was in black bags and stuff, it was no dramas. I don't see a drama in that. But obviously the previous binman did see a drama and taking away her extra. So long story short, right? Because I just went, no dramas. You alright, love? What's going on? Yeah, you need me? You got anything else you want me to take away? Blah, blah, blah. Boom. So subsequently, the next fucking 50 times I went to this woman's house to take her rubbish, every subsequent time after that, she was even nicer than the time before.
You know what? I think I know who you mean.
You know who
she
I
was-
mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think I might not. I think I might not associate myself with anything in particular. But I think I might know who
Do you know what I mean? What?
And I think you might be talking about that darling. And she was. She's a bit older than that. But she's a darling, man. She was super polite. She gave us a tip at Christmas.
Of course.
She was an angel, man.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing, what you did there, made my truck a better place to be.
But I'll tell you now, mate, if she was my next door neighbour, for example, she probably wouldn't have the same opinion of me.
Oh, dude, do you know, that's a good point. Do you know the amount of people I know that if I met in a different situation, I would not have them on my friends list,
Oh, you
my
long.
real life friends list?
Oh, you long?
Mate, like my mate Paul. I love you, Paul. You're the most amazing friend I've ever had in my life, okay? You've stuck by me.
Big
thick and
Paul.
thin. Big P.
And the big M. Yes, girl.
Little M.
Little M, you big girl.
Little M. Didn't Jamiroquai sing it? Little L he sung about, but Little M for now. So Big
Yeah,
P
but
and
didn't
Little
he
M.
didn't he sing about the Space Cowboy as well? And like going deeper underground?
No, Paul didn't. He
No,
wish he did.
No, Jam I Require did.
Yeah. Jamiroquai's gangster, mate. I
No,
love
it's
Jake.
Jam I Require, not Jamiroquai.
But his
Jam I
name,
Require.
his name should be J.K. I lost my tidy missus.
J Cunt.
Because he was with Denise Van Outen, man.
Fuck off.
Oh yeah, back in the day before.
Big breakfast time.
Denise Van Outen.
Oh,
man.
shit.
She's my babe. Denise
Oh,
Van Outen, give me a
Oh, girl.
holler.
I'm Holly Willabooby. Hey.
Ah, man. I like mine with a certain amount of cigarettes through the lips. But anyway,
You're all about them two twins off The Simpsons. What are they called?
Simpsons.
Yeah, who are fucking Marge's sisters? Selma and Patty.
Did it?
Yeah,
Hey.
you all about Selma and Patty, man.
Talk about Selma and Patty. If you say that, I've got to shout out to my aunties. All right? Okay, anyway, let's not go down there. What were we
Shit.
talking about? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
What were we talking about there before?
We're talking about
Was that Sailor
the
Jerry's?
impact that you have on people doing a job in a public service and how
Oh,
because one
yeah, and that
person
bled
thinks one
into-
thing,
I
if
got
they
you.
live next door to you, they think completely
yeah.
different things.
Like my mate Big Paul, he's my brother anyway. Like you're my brother, he's my brother. And you know, we've suffered a loss lately in our group of friends, and rest in peace, my man Bry. It's been a lot of. That's like I say, this is the rest in peace edition.
It's that age of our life, mate.
Yeah,
More
we
people
get
are
to
dying
this
than being born.
mid-30s. I say mid-30s.
More people are going than coming.
But Big P and Little M. Cheers.
Big ears.
Is it Nostrovia?
Nostrovia.
Yamas.
Nda.
Yamas.
Namaste.
Sailor Jerry's.
Salon Shiva.
Not sponsored by Sailor Jerry's yet. I'd like to be.
Wait.
But,
I wouldn't give a fuck. But, do you know what I want to be sponsored by? If I ever could.
I know who you want to be sponsored by. Fleshlight. The dirty bugger. But I
You
tell
know-
you what, Fleshlight stole. They stole my idea.
Why?
Well, they kind of have. I'll put it out there anyway now in case they haven't worked this out. They should have done. But you know the Nintendo Wii?
Yeah.
When that came out, I thought to myself,
The Wii store shut. You can't get anything new for the Wii nowadays. You can't even buy it online now. Wii store shut the other day, like today or something.
sucker Wii.
Sucker Wii.
Go sucker Wii.
Not unless you're
You and
homebrew.
your man sucker Wii.
Not unless you're homebrew, bruv. You can't get shit for the Wii nowadays.
Oh, go sucker Wii. Oh, no. Oh, maybe. Go sucker Wii. So, stinging the police aside. My man Paul.
Yeah, Big P.
I remember a time when I was standing there. I won't take you through the whole story. I'll take you right to the end of this story, and I'll give you the visual. I was standing there in a town called Malice.
Cockermouth.
Cockermouth. I used to sell windows in Cockermouth. That's
Cockermouth
up in
and Fish
near
Got-
Carlisle.
Oi.
Yeah, by Whitehaven and that, man. The place getting eaten by the sea there. It's crazy, isn't it? The scary stories in that town are the sea coming to get you. They're selling double glazing windows to houses that are about to fall off the fucking edge of a cliff. But my man P. I'll take you back to this story. I was standing there after a chase.
What, with people or the 5-0?
There was me. You know Ducas Maximus?
I know Ducas Maximus, right?
Ducas Maximus was swinging dicks. Yeah.
Handsome
Big
fella.
P and some other members of the crew. I can't remember who. And we were post chase with a guy who decided it was a good idea to be hustling a woman down a street
Oh, you getting
in
booked?
this town called Malice. Now, I have seen personally, I'll admit this, I've walked down this place and it was an old towny part of this place. I'll say that. And I was walking through this bit after finishing watching, I think it was a football match or something. Yeah, I think we went out to watch the England match, yeah. And we were walking from this pub. I won't say what it is.
Yeah, in a land far, far
And
away.
this
using
guy,
pub.
this guy was shouting up at a window, and there was a woman shouting back at him, and I tuned into her more than him. And she was calling down to him, saying, "Can you shut the fuck up, please?
Go away."
My kids are going to sleep."
Oh, well,
That's what I
your
heard.
defense
Mine
your
do.
defense mechanism is going to kick in there straight.
Mine do.
Yeah, of course.
Mine do. I ain't no
You're a central.
Superman, but I'm a
You're a-
hero if I can be.
So, hold what you're saying quickly. So, I've always called myself Guardian, the Sentinel. And whatever the means may be, but I've noticed.
Don't be too egotistical,
No,
sir.
no, of course, right, but that's my own thing. I've always called myself the Guardian. I'm the Sentinel. I'm the dude that stands there, and I don't say shit. I don't do shit until shit requires someone to do shit, and I'm the cunt that come and drop a brick on your head from 4 inches away.
Beep.
You know what I mean?
Got that swear beepers.
Yeah, the swear
It's
beat.
got a delay on that,
Right,
innit?
but it's not unique to me. Even if people don't understand or they don't give it a name, there are many, many people out there that are Guardian, like Sentinel. Not Guardian, because the Guardian means you guard something.
A lot of people
Sentinel,
watch.
Yeah, a lot of people watch, but a lot of people are also Sentinel. There's less Sentinels though nowadays, more watchers.
I think people find more bravery now they've got cameras to view through. I think that we'll talk about this later about the fact that you can view, viewing helps people deal with
Anonymity
stress.
and that through screens.
You see people looking at disasters happening in front of them and pulling their phones out and viewing it through their phone. And I think, do you know what I think that is, bruv? Because I've been around. I told you before a story earlier on in your kitchen about on the A2 when I pulled the kids out of the car.
Right, yeah.
That there was people running down taking pictures and videos and then running back. Now, I thought that was despicable when I was sitting roadside after dealing with this situation.
As you should.
As I should, and I felt anger towards these people that were in these cars that were clearly sharing stuff that I could see. I walked off for a fag, bruv. When I say fag, I mean cigarette. I walked off for a cigarette with I think at the time it was, shout out to Tyrone if you're listening. Tyrone was there when this happened, and we dealt with the sitch, man. Big up Tyrone. I remember him putting his hand on my back and going, "Go on, Steve. God bless you." We all need a bit of fire under us, even in a disaster situation. So you need to know you're the bloke that is going to take the hold of the situation sometimes. You need to know that that's your role, you know what I mean? And then you will take your role. A lot of people are sheep a little bit, but heroes in that. You know, there's heroes in the sheep, you know what I'm saying? But when that happened, people come down taking pictures, and when I was off having a cigarette afterwards, these two little old ladies opened their window, and they'd seen everything. They were further up in the traffic, the big old traffic jam behind this accident there.
Oh.
It's a good job to stop the truck in time, otherwise we'd have ploughed into him. You know, the canisters of colour gas come flying out this caravan as it was barrel rolling in front of us. Tyrone was in the truck, he was in the back. You see all that happening. I got videos and pictures on my phone. We pushed it out of the way as well because the old bill were taking ages to move the thing. So we were, it was like 7 o'clock at night. We were finishing our job, going back in a removal truck, and this stuff happens. This guy jackknifes in front of us in this caravan behind him, and barrel rolls like I say, and loses all the stuff out the back of the caravan, shreds up. I'll post some pictures at some point. But yeah, Ty was there, and after jumping out and dealing with it, oh, Chimpy was there too. Shout out Chimpy if you're about. First aid on my arse. Coops with a Z.
Coops with a Z. Oh.
So we're just doing something on Twitch at the same time.
Yeah, sorry.
So, in that escapade, when I was sitting down talking to these ladies, who wound down their window, and without I ain't what do you call it? Blowing your own. I ain't sucking my own dick here. Blowing smoke up my own arse. Blowing my own trumpet. I ain't doing that.
Your arse. Oi.
I ain't doing that. But I will say this. These two ladies showed appreciation, man. And whatever videos we've viewed, I didn't hear nothing about by these miscreants running up and not helping. Not saying they wouldn't have helped if they weren't the first person there. If they were the first person there, they might have been me. But they weren't, because I was the fucking first person there, motherfucker. Yeah. Deal with that, because that's the reality of that situation that day. Alright, so deal with that. Voyeurs. But I believe, these old ladies give me their thanks, yeah, and said that one of them said to me I shouldn't be smoking. That's what old ladies say. But the other one said to me that she'd lost her son on the motorway. He was driving to work early in the morning. He had a job up in the city, and he was driving to work up early in the morning, and he'd crashed. And he would have been alright if there'd been someone there to have seen it. You know what I mean? That would have stopped and pulled over, and that no one did. So she just thanked me for that. That was enough for the whole damn thing. You get me? The situations where that shit just jumps on you. Some people decide to watch that through a camera, and I believe the reason why they do it is they find it impossible to deal with in real life. And if you can view it through a camera, mate, how many people you know over the old days when the internet was up and coming were dialed into that ogrish.com and shit, watching all that gnarly shit? That's awful stuff. I can't touch that gear.
I'll give you two examples, right? And both of these, so one of them was in the local regional news. Yeah. So one of them was in the regional news. One of them was on, I think it was like ITN news. Do you know what I mean, right? So, give you two examples, right? So, I remember one night, I was sitting at home, and I had the missus with me, And I had like one of these public payphones just outside my house. But not outside my house, but it was just outside my house, right?
Yeah.
So long story short, me and the wife were sitting there, and it's about 11 o'clock at night.
This ain't too long ago either, is it?
No, it's not, right? And so like there was someone walking up the road, and you could hear this person anyway. They was obviously drunk.
By the way, let me just say one thing. I'm just gonna go for a piss, but let me say one thing. This ain't a dick measuring contest. We're not trying to ego off here. All we're doing is explaining that sometimes there ain't anybody else to do it, and we'll get back to the point of people watching things through cameras, and helping them. But you know,
right. So me and the wife we're sitting there in the front room, and you know it's late in the evening. I'd say it's about 11 o'clock or some shit, right? Anyway, we were sitting there. We could hear this bird walking up the street. She was quite drunk anyway, so she weren't far from my house, like the front room I was in, probably 20 foot. Anyway, so we've heard this woman approach the area of like the public phone box just outside our house and that, right? So, you know, me and the wife were sitting there, we're watching a bit of telly and that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden she's gone really quiet for a minute. Like she'd been really like animated and all that. All of a sudden she started shouting, help me, please help me, right? So obviously, boom, I called myself a sentinel. So I've jumped up in my tracksuit bottoms and my vest, barefoot. I got an aluminium baseball bat at my front door, so I grabbed that, run out the front door. As I come running out the front door, this woman, she's come running in the front garden and that, like in my gate. She's seen me coming out, she's come running in, boom. She's hurt, she got blood on her and shit. Over the road, about 20 foot away from me, on the other side of the road on a junction, there's this dude. And he's got a knife on him. And I remember as I looked at this dude, he's looking across the road and he's gone, oh, I'm sorry. And then he's run off. So obviously, like a motherfucker, I've chased him. But before I've chased him, my next door neighbour, there's a young couple who live next door to me. They're probably 25 maybe, 24, 25. Like a young dude and a young chick. And they're gamers. Like, you know, I used to see them sitting there gaming throughout the day and all that. So as I've come running out with my baseball bat to confront this dude that's attacking this chick with a knife, this woman, the girl from my neighbour, the young female, she's about 24, she'd done this perfect parachute roll out of her window on the ground floor onto the grass verge, just at the right time when this woman's come running into my arms. So quick as a flash, I've gone, here love, take her, boom. So I chased this dude, but I remember I'm in bare feet. So I must have chased him for about 2 minutes, and I stepped on some broken glass in my bare foot, so I couldn't chase him any further. So I've gone back. By now the police have arrived and all that shit. Boom. It turns out that just in the 3-story block that I lived in, there were no less than 4 grown men over the age of 25. Also, over the road from the block that I was living in, there was no less than 8 full grown men over the age of 25. Now, it weren't late, it weren't 2 o'clock in the morning or something, it was like 11:30 at night. I was the only man to come running out and see what was going on with this woman who was screaming in the street. Now, there was all these full grown men around me.
That's shameful.
That's shameful, right? What's even more shameful, mate, is that when it went to court, because I was like, yeah, boom, no dramas, right?
Why'd it go to court?
Because the dude tried to rape her and stab her in the phone box next to my house.
I see.
Right? So all these grown men, remember, there's like 6 grown men that live in my block or some shit. And there was two brothers that lived on the ground floor right next to the phone box. So hold that shame. But what I'm saying is this, right, look. So of all the houses around me, while this woman, the guy stabbed her in the phone box and he was going to attack her and all that, right? So she had blood on her and all that, right? Boom. A couple of weeks later, I had this police inspector, come around my house. And she was asking me questions and stuff. Right, boom. And, you know, I showed her the baseball bat, I showed her this, I gave, you know...
Hang on a minute.
Told
when
her
I
this
went,
and that.
let me just ask one thing. I went for a piss. What do you mean baseball bat?
Oh, that's when I chased the rapist down the road with a baseball bat, because he had a knife on him.
The thing is, are you allowed to have a of course you're allowed to have a baseball
I've got a baseball bat. I've got kids.
You play baseball, don't you? You
Yeah,
coach and that, don't you?
yeah, right. So this inspector woman, she come around the house,
If
right?
that's not a reason to have a baseball bat, nothing.
Right, and because of the severity of the attack, what they was doing is they was checking all the houses as well. Like they was talking to all the neighbours and all that. You know what she said to me? Now this was a police inspector. She come in my flat and she said to me, she said, "You're the only person apart from that young woman on the ground floor that come out." She said, "And I've been to a lot of the houses within close proximity to where the attack happened." And she said, "I've looked at full-grown men bigger than you." He said, "And all the best they had to offer was a bit of CCTV." Now, these guys were awake. They was aware of what was going on.
People are scared.
People are scared. But I was small. So, like, here you go. One of the people that lived over the road from me, I ended up working on the bins with him. He's twice the size of me and in weight as well. And he was a pussy that wouldn't come out of his house when a woman was getting stabbed and raped in a phone box.
Alright, okay, hang on.
I'm just saying.
Right, that's your opinion of this guy.
Right?
But you know why people didn't come out?
Go on.
Because they can't be bothered.
Well, that's not no justified measure.
No, I'm telling you the reason why they don't come out is because they can't be bothered. They think that somebody else should be dealing with that. People do not want to take ownership of their surroundings. You do. You're told that you shouldn't. But you should. You should take ownership of your surroundings, and you should create a. If you're living in a block, especially if you're living in a block, you should create an element of community.
Well,
I'll tell you what it takes right now, quickly, to stop one man.
I'm gonna give my second
It takes
story.
2 men. So if 5 of them men were to come out, the guy in the phone box would have realised that he's outnumbered. He's outnumbered,
yeah.
outdone.
He's nice, no good.
He can't, even in his head with the things that he thinks he knows, all that shit. The geezer could have a black belt inside for you know. You've got to be very careful with people these days when you attack it. Listen.
Yeah,
when you're running to, let me just say, when you're running
go
to
on.
the aid of people, we got to advise people that you shouldn't do that all the time because
No,
there's
of
some
course
people
not.
out there
Right.
that'll fuck you up.
So look, I've got to say this, right? Look, I lived the life on the streets.
And some things can look different from different points of view. Now,
Right.
obviously, that
I lived the life on the streets. I also served my time for my nation. I didn't do 5 years. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, but
I served my time, right? And I lived a bit of a rough life, right? So what I'm saying is this. So on that particular situation, with that woman getting attacked in a phone box outside my house, right? The only person who come out to assist was a 24-year-old woman from the ground floor, right? Boom. Of all them grown men around me, right, of
mate,
equal
when
age and
when
height.
a woman hears another woman in distress, she's going to run to her aid.
Yeah,
That's
of
what
course,
women are, mate.
of course. And like I say, she performed the
They
most
are real superheroes,
excellent.
mate.
She performed the most excellent fucking commando roll out of that ground floor window onto the grass I've ever
Some
seen.
G.I. Jane.
Oh shit, G.I. Jane, right? So, what I mean is, like, the only person that come out was a chick. Now, I was living up north, and I was across the border, so I was up north, right? And it was a similar situation that went down, right? So, I was.
Say
you
that,
know,
Jerry, sir.
Say that, Jerry.
We are rambling, you know this.
What?
We were. Hang on.
No,
Before we go on about you being up north and dealing with people in trouble and all that stuff, this heroism stuff. Like, we don't want to separate too much.
what I'm saying is about sentinels and people who are sentinels and who are guardians and who do this and who do that.
It's
Right?
ages since we clarified what
Right.
that was.
So,
So what are we talking about?
right. So,
What
the
do you
two
mean?
examples. What do you mean? What do I mean? You know
What
what I
do you
mean?
mean?
So you just been pissing, and I've been regaling a story about rescuing a woman who's being raped, and she was stabbed in a phone box outside my house at fucking
So
11,
people have been
past
listening
11.
to your voice for
Right.
at least like 6 minutes.
Yeah,
now.
of course.
Oh, shut the fuck
So
up.
the next situation, right? Look, I was living.
I don't know if I heard that. Shut the fuck up, then.
Shut the fuck up. Right, I was living up across the border, and a similar situation happened. Right, there was some shops over the road from where I was living, and they call them Neds in Scotland, non-educated delinquents.
I bet you were called and.
Right?
I
was
bet you were
I was
called
Cockney
Ned.
wanker.
How many
right?
times you use Ned when you come back down here?
None actually.
Nah, you're
yeah,
Ned.
right.
Yeah, Radgy Gadgy.
But yeah, they're just like Raji, right? So up there they got a Ned. You're a
My
non-educated
name when I
delinquent.
moved, when I
What?
done something bad and had to move up north, like that's every geezer's story.
Yeah.
because that's what happens when I've done something bad. Look for a way out and found the reason why I moved up. I was moving up north. The reason why I moved where I moved up north was because that's where the chick was that I met. We were going to go up north, but that's the reason why everybody goes up there.
So I'm up in this place up north, right? And I'm tiny. I'll give you a region. I'm tiny little bit north of Glasgow, but not past. I'm not past Paisley.
You moved to the Arctic Circle.
Right? So I'm just north of Glasgow, but I'm not north of Paisley, right? So I'm there. I'm sitting there in my flat. You know, got me missus with me. I was living with a Scottish bird and that. It was great. And it was off licence over the road for me. Long story short, one evening, and you know what, funny enough, about the same time, about 11:30 at night, just getting ready to go to bed and shit, telly off and that, boom. And there's these Neds, and they're giving this bird a hard time, right? Now, you know, it was one of them few occasions when I thought, as long as there's no violence, I ain't really gonna get involved. But it ended up like this bird got thrown into the shop shutters by one of these dudes in a fucking North Face jacket, thinking he's gangster. So, obviously, but the interesting thing about this one is when I come running out of my block to run across the road. Now, it weren't a main road or nothing like that, it was just a road, right? So, 20 foot. By the time I got to the other side of the road, there was 5 people also running across the road to assist me in this situation. And you know, not a single one of them was under the age of 50, bro. Hold that shit.
There's a difference. There's a difference in community values in different communities. You believe that, right? You know, without going too far away from the point, you know what a lot of difference is in regard to dealing with racial equality within a community.
Oh yeah, fucking hell. I'm from South East London, bro.
Mate, we grew up with this. Yeah, the things that the place that we live in now, and the issues they're dealing with now, we dealt with when we were pre-teens, and the integration of different races is what people seem to think the issue is about. But it's not the integration of different races, it's the integration of different cultures. All races have the same idea, and that's to further themselves in the game of life and get better dependent on what their peers consider to be valuable. That's the human condition. We try to show our value. Everything we do is based on our emotional system. I forget what the word is for it. Not endocrine system, is it? Some kind of part of your body, yeah. That whichever way your chemical makeup gains happiness, that's how you're gonna behave in your daily life, yeah. So, however you value happiness, will create a personality around you to provide that happiness to your system, and you'll do anything in your power to go down that road of creating happiness in which ways you know. Now, where were we? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Oh,
I
dude,
thought you was carrying on, bro.
I was carrying on, but you know what happened?
I
saw you. No,
mused off.
No, I didn't doze off. Promise you.
No, you mused off.
I'm on to the game, but you know the problem is, I went on to that game.
Oh, don't be watching that. Don't worry about what I'm doing.
But you're putting on the game.
It's nice. It's a game.
It's not Street Fighter.
I couldn't. Oh, bruv, come on, you get bashed.
What you took?
What do you mean, bruv?
No, I can't keep saying what you mean.
What do you mean?
What the fuck do you mean?
You know what I mean.
That's
Yeah.
Thank you in Viking.
Yeah, it
right?
ain't easy. I'm saying it's easy.
That's your cooking.
It
It's
ain't
delicious.
easy for you. Yeah, what do you mean? I'm saying it's easy, bruv. You getting bashed.
I made that in the shed. I recorded that in the shed.
What do you mean?
Yeah, all them vocals.
What
I
do you
did.
mean, what do
all
you
the
mean?
what you means, all the I'm not
I
sure.
don't know.
I don't know. All that business I done in the shed. It was raining outside. I had to spend so much time. So I apologise for the quality.
You loved
But it's done in the shed on a broken phone.
Loved it. It was like some kind of personal abuse. You was like that. Whoa.
I was whipping my back on the proverbial
Shit.
mountain.
You were
Mount
self-flagellating
Fuji.
yourself. Flagellating. Not flagellating.
I
Flagellating.
was, and I was thirsty. I didn't even get a drink.
Was it like Passion of the Steve? Did it feel
I
like Passion
bear
of the
the
Steve?
cross.
Yeah, you bear the original sin, yeah?
So hang on a minute. Let me say this.
Go on.
How many followers did Jesus have?
5,000.
No. How many apostles did he have? 12.
12, yeah.
12 apostles, 12 months, 12 everything.
Right.
Baker's dozen.
Is 12
That's
is 12
13.
sacred geometry though? That's the question.
Yeah, because it's a
Is it prime?
it's a fractal of 3.
Ah.
Everything sacred geometry is based on 3, 6,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
9.
yeah.
Look
So
up
12
Michael Jordan. Yeah, that shit's crazy. Cray cray.
No, he's
they say.
yeah. No, I've seen something about Michael Jordan. Like, if I remember, didn't he throw some jump shot at a certain time on the
Please
clock
do not
when it was the same
make
as on
me
his
go
back?
down that mental. Please
Yeah,
do not make
I'm
me
sure I
go down
remember
that
something
mental
like that.
rabbit
It
hole
was
of
like
that.
perfectly timed photograph of
Oh.
him throwing a shot that won the game at a certain amount of points, and the points were the same
It
as
was
the
something
clock,
like
and it was
this.
the same on his back. 12.
It was something like this.
Yeah, he was number
that
12.
That particular photo was taken, at 0.6 seconds on the 6th month, the 6th day of the 6th month. This basketball what they call them, basketball match. What they call them? Basketball off.
That's a match.
Basketball match. Game.
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 Game of basketball.
They're Americans. They have one name for everything.
Yeah.
They're like fucking the opposite of Eskimos with snow. Hang
So,
on, you're
do
going to
real-
divert. I
yeah,
see
yeah,
that look in your eye.
real quick about Americans.
Here
So-
we go. This is
Sorry.
this is what conversations are, right?
So
That's how they work.
I've been playing this online game at the moment with spaceships in it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say the game's name because I'm not sponsored, right?
Considering he wants to be sponsored by Fleshlight, I imagine the kind of game he's been playing has been
No,
something
right.
with-
So
with
I've
silly
been
putty.
playing this game, right, and you know, I sit there. It's one of the ones with like world chat and shit, and there's millions of players and all that shit. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to say what it is and who I am.
I've got to get that bleeper
Right.
working. Beep. Oh, there it is.
So they were sitting there the other day, and this is a homage to you, good sir, right? So they were sitting there the other day, and they was talking about soccer and football, and someone said, "I don't know why Americans call football when you play it with your hands." So as quick as a flash, I've dipped in there in the world chat, and I've gone. So American football is just rugby with body armor. You know, let's not confuse the sitch. Which caused an uproar in the fucking chat, to which people were talking about baseball and cricket and all that. But I thought I'd drop that in there because I know the difference. But like, no. So they're going about like rugby, like football, and I'm going, no, you're talking about
Hey.
rugby with body armour, bruv.
Yeah, look. I'll say one thing before I go down this, and this will be the last thing we talk about right now.
Right.
We will do another podcast. But what I will say before we leave, and we'll pick up, by the way, we will pick up the RIP aspect of this podcast in the next, and because credit due, and respect to my brothers that ain't here, and there's people I need to talk about still. And Big P, don't worry, baby, you'll be in the next episode too. But before we go, what we talk about?
Random musings.
Random musings?
Yeah.
What about a guy at the same? What were you saying?
As I was saying about like the difference of people, right? So when the inspector come around my house about that woman in the phone box,
Yeah.
yeah, she told me that of all the people that she'd interviewed and that about what had happened in the phone box, all these men had to offer was possibly 1 or 2 bits of footage.
No, I
Do you
remember
know
what
what I
you
mean?
talk about. You talk about rugby.
Rugby, oh right, with the Americans, yeah.
Sorry about that, people, man. We're exploring dimensions here.
And
It's hard to remember. Any enlightened chaps out there? Oh, by the way, Bapu.
oh, Bapu, I've heard about you, yeah.
Oh, Bapu. That's all I'm saying. Bapu, the pagan priest, my man. The spiritual advisor to King Arthur himself.
So I got in this conversation with these
We're going
Yanks
to talk about rugby.
about how their football is just rugby with body armour.
Well,
Now,
that's
look,
what I was going to say
I do-
about the one thing I will say before you slag off American football too much.
I'm not gonna.
Well, it's this. No, you should slag it off because it's an awful sport, and I'll tell you why. There's a reason why headgear ain't available to be used in professional boxing, and that's because headgear increases the chances of concussion, because it doesn't think about it. If you've got your hand next to your head,
Oh,
and
you're
if
getting
someone
double
punches you in the hand,
Yeah, you're getting double punch.
if your hand's away from your head that you've got a better chance at absorbing that punch. But if your hand's tight on your head, it's just going to increase the size of your fucking head. The same thing goes with American football. Now these guys are superhuman athletes, man. They are the best athletes on the planet. I promise you, they're better athletes than rugby players. But the reason why they're better athletes than rugby players is they've got a stricter regime on the way into American football, and there's so many people, such a base of people, from Pop Warner, check that knowledge, from Pop Warner level all the way up to the NFL, AFL through to the NFL. I used to have my trump cards, mate, when I was a kid. Don't worry about that. I had my fridge trump card, mate. Yeah, oh yeah, Chicago Bear. The fridge. I can't remember his real name now. There's so many people. Yeah, the fridge, man. The fridge was the Bear, mate. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. I forget his name. Shout out to the Bear. And Jerry Rice for the 49ers back in the day, and Joe Montana for the Dolphins, and still Manning playing now, winning Super Bowls and shit. Crazy times. Still with the NFL. I don't know. He had a bit of a face off with Belichick. I'm not quite sure what the situation is there, but they're both the greatest minds of the NFL right now ever been. Trust me, go down an NFL route. It's an entertaining place to be. Apart from the matches take 4 hours each. There's a lot of pomp and circumstance about the NFL, but I tell you what it is, it's entertaining shit, and you get to watch a lot of super athletes running at each other. But the whole reason I do jiu-jitsu is because I'm super heavy conscious of concussion. I know Muay Thai like the back of my hand. I know kickboxing.
Pangama all the way.
I'm not talking about just myself. I really don't mean to say that. I don't mean to sound like I know all these things. I'm just trying to say that the most valuable asset in a fighting context is jiu-jitsu, because there's no concussion risk, and I know that as an ex-rugby player. Not to divert, and all the concussions I took there, and that's where it bleeds to NFL or AFL or whatever, or college football or Pop Warner. People are taking massive impacts to their heads and bodies. You can get a concussion through an impact to your body, you know that?
Yeah.
Crazy shit. So you can take a punch to the belly to get a concussion. I mean, car crashes and stuff, obviously. But you know, you can get concussion from anything. And in the NFL, the thing I give them credit for in the game is what I give them, is what I discredit for them in regard to safety for their athletes. And they're the best paid athletes in the world, so the juice is worth the squeeze. But the concussion is off the chain, and you see a lot of incidents in the NFL royalty where they commit awful, heinous crimes against people they love.
What's
O.J.
NFL
Simpson.
royalty?
Like people like O.J. Simpson, you know, these guys that were amazing athletes in the NFL but took so many bangs to the head. I think there was some analysis done on his brain after he died. That's the thing with CTE, chronic trauma encephalopathy or something.
I heard about that. That's that deep. Ain't that thing that it's like concussion can affect you like 13 years later?
Oh mate, a concussion.
That's what you're on about. That deep brain damage thing.
Concussion can't, and that's just a concussion. That's not CTE. A collective concussions cause CTE, but and you can get CTE from one concussion. CTE is chronic trauma, and then a word I don't know how to say, but it's massive damage to the brain that you can't pick up on any kind of scan, any kind of brain scan.
Yeah.
You can only scan it. You can only do it on live brain matter. So, you know, Will Smith made a film about it. It's called Concussion. That's where I first picked up on this shit, man.
I've just had an epiphany.
Stacey's looking there all shocked.
So, what you're talking about, right? Even before you said what they give it a name as, ain't that the thing that I'm sure there was like people that have done heinous crimes like killers and shit in America, and I'm sure that they've said, look, it weren't me, like this, and they've donated their brain to science, and when they cut the brain open, they found the thing inside there and shit.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm sure that's that. Ain't that?
It's proven. It's scientifically proven, and it's scientifically accepted worldwide that and I don't know what exact part of the brain it is, because I'm not a neurologist, but if you've got a pinhead sized lesion on a certain part of your brain, it can cause you to be a serial killer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know about this part of the brain or where it is, or if you can damage it through an impact. But I do know the pineal gland can be affected by concussions, and that can cause hallucinations because that is a hallucinogenic gland.
I don't know whether it's the pineal gland, because that's a serious thing in itself. I'm not sure. But like when you said, and it just reverberated somewhere in my memory, and I'm sure there was some killers in America,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that when they died, they said, look, cut my brain open, and they found a difference to it, and what they did were like traumatic sports. So what I mean is
O.J. Simpson.
Yeah,
O.J.
Simpson.
This is the connection to the NFL with this whole thing.
So,
O.J.
like,
Simpson, he stabbed his wife to death and her lover to death.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
then
even know if they were husband and wife at that point.
Look at Oscar Pistorius, like that.
He shot his wife through the door.
Shot his wife through the door. Yeah, the Paralympian.
That guy.
So you don't know,
wow,
mate.
what?
You don't know about different people and what they're gonna do and shit.
No, true, and that, I mean that can't be put down to concussions.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
about his previous history.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He didn't do that through concussion.
No.
Look at all the rugby players in the world. Yeah, look.
No,
just
listen, I know a lot of rugby players, man, and I know they suffer, man.
Just like soldiers, just like rugby players, just like anyone that's involved in some kind of contact sport. So look, even baseball and cricket, and I'll say that because if you got a cricket ball hitting your fucking Swede at 35 mile an hour or whatever, right, in your fucking hat,
yeah, I understand that.
That's still going to bash you.
That's
mate.
true. That's true.
Yeah,
but it's the amount of impact. So that is
that.
So if you on the impact scale, that's off the charts. As a rugby player, you never really have an impact like that. I mean, no one football kicks you in the head when you're on the floor. Really, I mean, you're dealing with a lot of honourable chaps. It's a warrior sport. It's far more warrior than the NFL, because, like I was saying, the NFL provide their athletes with a certain amount of armoury that allows them to do things that rugby players can't do.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's more impact to
So
it
they can
stuff.
run these plays and have these Superman tackles where they'll leave their feet and take off and smash you head to head, helmet to helmet. This is a lot of concussion, man. I mean, Jesus, I don't know. Even you can probably gain multiple concussions from one impact. Your brain's like a fucking onion in a jar of water.
Look, I've seen
you
American
shake that,
football.
it's going to bang against the sides sometimes.
I've seen what American football players do to each other.
You can't do that in rugby.
No, of course not.
But do you know what? I played rugby all the way through, from the age of 7 all the way up, and I played it through every age level, all the way up to adult. And I took an injury and shit, and I lost love for the game, and then become embittered because I couldn't play, and then became fat. But anyway, now I'm not. Shredded.
Gay.
Yeah, shredded.
Call him the pirate because he's got a sunken chest.
Hey, it's just no sugar, man. It's just no sugar. I need to go to the gym. Shredded. You take me off the vibe now, you man. You're so mean to me, man.
You like that pirate stuff?
I'm trying to be nice, man.
I know. I'm spreading the love, man. I'm spreading the love, brother. It's just.
Watch out! I'll give your missus the angry pirate, sir.
Oi. I like to think my missus will chase you out with a fucking sword, bruv.
They always do afterwards, mate. How many sword marks I got in my back?
Do you know what I mean? My wife, listen, do you know what? My wife's the most passive-aggressive person you'll ever meet, right? Because she's into, like, Pangamot, she's into, like, fucking Bojitsu and shit, right? But I never see her practice, but I know she'll kick my ass. 100%.
Just put her hand in her purse and squeeze your balls and it'll all be over.
Oh, listen, you're the only one that smell like fucking Chanel No. 5, my man. Don't worry about that shit.
Hey, it's Calvin Klein No. 1 and it's unisex.
What
What are we talking about?
I don't know, what do you mean?
I don't know, but we'll call this one a day. Big love to my man P. I'll talk about you.
Big love. All the P's, because we didn't mention the big P, mate. The other P.
What have we talked about?
We've talked about the difference in people and how some people do stuff and some people look through cameras instead of intervening.
Tripped between different conversations.
Oh yeah, well this is the musings. This is not a fixed subject. This is the musings.
I'll tell you the real reason why we're stopping right now.
This is my content.
Coops with a Z is broadcasting live on Twitch right now.
That's not stopping me.
We're gonna spend the rest of the evening doing that.
That's not stopping me.
So
I still talk.
connectivity, people. That's cool, man.
Woman. That's all I got to say.
We'll pick it up.
One love.
Another day.
One love to all the fat listeners and that. Hit that subscribe button.
Hang on. One love.
One love. One love under the sun. Sun Tzu, bruv.
You can't say one love.
I can.
That's cultural
No,
appropriation,
no,
bro.
no, 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 no. One love under the sun, bruv. One love under the sun. Yeah, that's
no,
a
you
culture.
can't say that.
That's my people, bruv.
Your people.
Yeah, of course. I'm half Native American.
Oh, we definitely need to talk about this.
That's some
another
one
time.
love under the sun, my man. One love under the sun. Listen, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, download that shit. Yeah, don't take us seriously at all. And this is my content, just a bit of random musings. You know, Mr. Stav, the King, Mr. Preacher Raver, he talks about the fixed subjects. I'm just here to talk about whatever, my man. Listen, hit us in the comment section. Tell us what you want to talk us about and all that. You know what I mean?
We ain't
yeah?
got a clue what we're doing.
No, 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 no. That's what I mean. The more you tell us, the more we can give you, people. One love.
One love. You still can't say that.
Shut up, man.